The alarm bells rang through the research station like angry birds. Commander Ji-won Park jumped from her chair and ran toward the communications room. Her boots made loud sounds on the metal floor as she moved through the narrow hallways. "What is happening?" she asked as she entered the room. Dr. Hyunwoo Kim looked up from his screens. His face was pale, and his hands were shaking. "Commander, we got a signal. A very strange signal." Ji-won walked closer to look at the screens. Numbers and symbols moved across them like dancing lights. "Where did it come from?" "Far away." "Very far away," Hyunwoo said. He pointed at a star map on the wall. "From this area, I never saw anything like it before." Engineer Minji Lee came running into the room. Her work clothes were dirty with oil and her hair was messy. "The computers are going crazy. All our systems are trying to decode something." Captain Taewon Choi entered last. He was a big man with serious eyes. "Is it dangerous? Should we call for help?" Ji-won looked at her team. They had been together, on this station for 2 years. They were good people and she trusted them. "Show me what we have." Hyunwoo pressed some buttons. The main screen came alive with colors and sounds. The sounds were not like human voices. They were higher and softer, like wind through trees. "This is not from Earth," Minji said. "The technology is different. Very different." Hyunwoo worked on his computer for an hour. His fingers moved fast on the keys. Sometimes he stopped and rubbed his eyes. Sometimes he made small sounds of surprise. "I am starting to understand some of it," he said finally. "This is a message for help. Someone is asking for help." "Help from who?" Ji-won asked. "From us, from humans. They know about us." The room became quiet. They all looked at each other. How could aliens know about humans? Earth was far from other star systems. Humans had never met aliens before. Hyunwoo continued working. More words appeared on the screen. He read them slowly. "They call themselves the Villani. They say they are a peaceful people. They trade with other star systems." "What kind of help do they need?" Taewon asked. "There is another group. They are called the Korthak. The Korthak are attacking the Villani worlds. The Villani cannot fight back." Ji-won felt cold. "Why are they asking humans for help? Why not other aliens?" Hyunwoo read more of the message. His eyes became wide. "They heard stories about us. They know Earth is a dangerous world. They know humans are fighters. They call us Deathworlders." "Deathworlders?" Minji asked. "They say most worlds in the galaxy are safe and peaceful. But Earth is different. Earth has dangerous animals and bad weather, wars and violence. They think this makes humans strong." Taewon laughed, but it was not a happy sound. "They want us to fight for them because we are good at fighting." The message continued to decode. More information appeared on the screen. The Villani described their worlds. They were beautiful places with tall trees and clean water. The people lived in peace for thousands of years. They had never built weapons of war. The Korthak were different. They came from a world with little water and hard ground. They were strong and cruel. They took what they wanted from other people. They had already destroyed 3 Villani worlds. "How many Korthak are there?" Ji-won asked. Hyunwoo looked at the numbers. "Many, maybe thousands of ships. The Villani have no warships, only trading ships." The message showed pictures too. The Villani looked like tall, thin humans, but with smooth skin that changed colors. They had large eyes and long fingers. They looked kind and gentle. The Korthak looked like big lizards that walked on 2 legs. They wore heavy armor and carried large weapons. Their ships were dark and covered with spikes. "The Villani are offering us something," Hyunwoo said. "They have technology we do not have, something called graviton control. It can make our ships move much faster through space." Ji-won thought about this. Faster ships would change everything for humanity. They could explore more star systems. They could build colonies on distant worlds. But they would also have to fight a war in space against aliens they had never met. "There is more," Hyunwoo said. The Korthak are moving toward Earth too. Not now, but someday. If they defeat the Villani, they will come for us next. This made everyone think. If the Korthak were really that dangerous, maybe it was better to fight them now. Better to fight them far from Earth. Minji checked the station's communication systems. We can send a message to Earth Command, but it will take 3 days to get there. And 3 more days for an answer, Taewon added. The Villani do not have 6 days, Hyunwoo said. He pointed at the message. The Korthak are attacking their main world now. The fighting has already started. Jiwon walked to the window and looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, people were dying. People who had asked for help from humans. People who had never hurt anyone. She also thought about Earth, about her family there, about the billions of people who did not know that aliens existed. What would happen to them if the Korthak came? Send the message to Earth Command, she said. Send everything. We have. Every word, every picture, every number. Yes, Commander, Minji said. She began working on the transmission. And send something else, Jiwon added. Tell them this is not just about helping the Villani. This is about protecting Earth too. As Minji worked, Hyunwoo continued to decode more of the alien message. He found tactical information about Korthak ships and weapons. He found star maps showing their territory. He found lists of other worlds they had conquered. The Korthak are not just raiders, he said quietly. They are building an empire. They want to control this whole area of the galaxy. And Earth is in this area, Taewon said. Yes. The transmission to Earth was ready. All the information was compressed into a tight beam that would travel faster than light to reach Earth's communication networks. Sending now, Minji announced. The message left the station and began its long journey home. In 3 days, people on Earth would learn that humans were not alone in the universe. They would learn that aliens existed and that some of them were in danger. They would also learn that other aliens wanted to hurt humanity. Jiwon wondered what Earth would decide to do. Would they send help? Would they ignore the message? Would they be afraid? She thought about human history. Humans had always been fighters. When someone threatened their friends, humans fought back. When someone threatened their family, humans fought harder. The Villani had called humans Deathworlders. Maybe they were right. Maybe growing up on a dangerous world had made humans different from other species in the galaxy. Maybe it had made them stronger. 3 days later, Earth's answer came back. It was short and simple. Help is coming. Tell the Villani to hold on. But Jiwon could not know what help meant. She could not know that Earth was preparing for its first interstellar war. She could not know that the message would change human history forever. All she knew was that somewhere in the darkness of space, ships were already moving. Human ships, carrying human warriors, heading toward a battle that would shake the galaxy. The age of human isolation was ending. The age of humanity, as a galactic power, was about to begin. And it would all start with answering one desperate call for help. The Korthak expected humans to stop fighting when Villani Prime was safe. Most galactic species fought only until their immediate goals were achieved. Then they would negotiate peace and return home. Humans were different. Admiral Jaewon Bae stood on the bridge of his flagship watching the retreating Korthak fleet. He had taken command of the human forces when Admiral Han returned to Earth to report their victory. Sir, the Korthak are requesting a ceasefire, Communications Officer Sunwoo reported. Ignore the request, Jaewon said calmly. Sir, they are retreating. The Villani worlds are safe now. The Villani worlds are safe today, Jaewon replied. But what about tomorrow? What about next year? What happens when the Korthak rebuild their fleet and come back? He turned to address his bridge crew. The Korthak have conquered 47 star systems. They have enslaved billions of people. They attacked peaceful traders who never hurt anyone, and now they want to negotiate? What are your orders, sir? We follow them home. We end this war properly. This decision shocked both the Villani and the retreating Korthak. No galactic species had ever pursued a defeated enemy back to their home territory. It was considered aggressive and unnecessary. But humans had a different philosophy about war. They believed that if you were going to fight, you should fight to win completely. Half measures just meant you would have to fight the same war again. Later, Major Siwoo Park led the first human infiltration mission. His team specialized in getting inside enemy ships and installations without being detected. The Korthak have never dealt with stealth warfare, he explained to his team. They fight honorable battles with clear rules. They do not expect enemies to sneak around in the dark. His team consisted of 12 humans who had trained for years in special warfare techniques. They were experts at moving quietly, hiding in small spaces, and striking without warning. The Korthak ships were designed for their species. The corridors were tall and wide to accommodate their large bodies. The ventilation systems were big enough for Korthak maintenance workers. But Korthak maintenance workers were much larger than humans. Siwoo and his team entered a Korthak command ship through its waste disposal system. They crawled through pipes and ducts that were too small for Korthak soldiers but perfect for humans. "This is disgusting," whispered Corporal Da-Yun Kim. "Better than fighting our way through the front door," Siwoo replied. They reached the ship's main computer room without being detected. The Korthak guards were watching for enemies coming through doors and corridors. They never thought to look. Up at the ceiling vents, Siwoo's team downloaded all the ship's data, including fleet positions, supply routes, and communication codes. Then they planted small explosives in the engine room and left the same way they had entered. The Korthak never knew the humans had been there until their ship's engines exploded 3 hours later. Commander Nayoung Ko was running the intelligence operations. She had studied Korthak communications for weeks and learned to decode their military messages. "The Korthak are very confused," she reported to Admiral Bay. "They do not understand why we are still fighting." "What are they saying?" "They keep asking each other why humans will not negotiate. They think we must want something from them." "What do we want from them?" "Complete surrender and an end to their empire." The Korthak High Command could not understand this. In their experience, wars were fought for territory, resources, or trade advantages. They could not comprehend fighting a war just to stop bullies from hurting innocent people. But humans had grown up on a world where predators existed. They understood that sometimes you had to fight predators not for profit, but to protect the herd. The human fleet continued to chase the Korthak ships deeper into enemy territory. Along the way, they discovered something that made them even more angry. The Korthak had not just conquered other species, they had made them into slaves. The third planet they liberated, Commander Ko found prison camps holding millions of aliens from a dozen different species. The prisoners had been working in mines and factories for decades. "How long have you been here?" she asked an elderly alien through a translation device. 30 years, he replied, "since the Korthak conquered our homeworld." "What happened to your people who were not captured?" The old alien looked sad. "They were killed. The Korthak said slaves who were too old or too weak were useless." This news spread through the human fleet like wildfire. The soldiers had come to help the Villani, but now they discovered that the Korthak were much worse than anyone had realized. They were not just aggressive conquerors. They were genocidal monsters who had murdered entire populations. Admiral Bay called a meeting of his senior officers. "The mission has changed," he announced. "We are not just protecting the Villani anymore. We are liberating every world the Korthak have conquered." "Sir, that could take years," said Captain Jungwon Lee. "Then it takes years. Earth Command may not approve such an extended mission. Earth Command sent us here to stop bullies. These are the biggest bullies in the galaxy." The Sci-Human campaign became something the galaxy had never seen before. Instead of fighting for territory or resources, humans were fighting for an idea: that strong people should not be allowed to hurt weak people. Every Korthak world they captured, they immediately freed any slaves they found. Every Korthak military installation they destroyed, they broadcast the same message to the galaxy. This is what happens to species that make war on innocence. But the most frightening part of the human campaign was not their military tactics. It was their psychological warfare. Before attacking each Korthak position, the humans would broadcast recordings of human children laughing and playing. To most species, the sounds of happy children were pleasant and peaceful. To the Korthak, who were used to the harsh sounds of their own world, human laughter sounded like the calls of predators preparing to hunt. The psychological effect was devastating. Korthak soldiers would hear recordings of human children and immediately think of the terrifying human warriors who were coming to destroy them. Some Korthak units surrendered without fighting rather than face the laughing demons from the death world. After 6 months of constant retreat, the Korthak fleet finally reached their homeworld. Emperor Korthak the Destroyer, supreme ruler of the Korthak Empire, waited for them with what remained of his military forces. "We will make our final stand here," he declared. "The humans may have won battles, but they cannot conquer our entire empire." He was wrong. The human fleet arrived at the Korthak homeworld to find it defended by 2,000 ships and orbital defense platforms. It was the largest military force the galaxy had seen in centuries. Admiral Bay studied the enemy positions and turned to his staff. Comments? "The odds are approximately 10 to 1 against us," Captain Lee reported. "Acceptable odds, Admiral," Bay replied calmly. "Sir? We are Deathworlders fighting bullies. 10 to 1 is almost fair." The final battle was about to begin. The Korthak Empire would make its last stand at their homeworld. But they were fighting humans who had traveled across the galaxy for one reason: to make sure that predators who hurt innocent people would never hurt anyone again. And humans were very good at hunting predators. Emperor Korthak was about to learn why his species should never have threatened the friends of Deathworlders. The hunt was almost over. The first shots of the battle lit up space like lightning. Korthak energy beams struck human ships, but the humans did not fight like the Korthak expected. Lieutenant Commander Ji-hoon Oh was flying his fighter toward a Korthak destroyer when his engines were hit. Most pilots would have retreated to repair their ship. Instead, Ji-hoon aimed his damaged fighter directly at the enemy ship. "Control, this is Fighter 7, he said calmly. "My engines are dead. I am going to ram the destroyer." "Negative, Fighter 7, came the reply. "Eject and wait for rescue." "No time," Ji-hoon said. "There are Vellani civilians on the planet below. Every Korthak ship I take out saves lives." He switched off his radio and pushed his fighter to maximum speed. The Korthak destroyer tried to turn away, but it was too slow. Ji-hoon's fighter smashed into its engine section just as the fighter's power core exploded. Both ships were destroyed in a ball of fire, but at the last second before impact, Ji-hoon ejected from his fighter. His escape pod was picked up by a human rescue ship 20 minutes later. "Why did you do that?" the rescue crew asked him. "It was the most efficient solution," Ji-hoon replied, as if ramming enemy ships was perfectly normal. On the Korthak command ship, War Commander Korthal watched, in shock. "Did that pilot just sacrifice his ship to destroy ours?" "Yes, sir," his aide replied. But why? His ship was worth more than our destroyer." "I do not understand either, sir." This was the difference between Korthak and human thinking. The Korthak saw ships and equipment as valuable resources that should be protected. Humans saw them as tools that could be used and replaced. The space battle continued, but the real fighting was happening on the surface of Vellani Prime. Korthak, ground troops had landed to capture important cities. Sergeant Major Boyoung Kim was leading her infantry squad through the ruins of a Vellani city when they encountered a Korthak fortress. The fortress was built on a hill and surrounded by energy barriers. It had taken the Korthak 3 days to build it. "How do we attack it?" asked Private Minho Park. "We do not attack it," Boyoung said. "We let it attack us." She ordered her squad to set up their weapons in an open area where the Korthak could see them. Then they began firing at the fortress, but they aimed badly on purpose. The Korthak thought the humans were poor soldiers. They opened their barriers and sent troops out to capture these weak enemies. But the humans were not weak. They were acting. As soon as the Korthak troops left their fortress, Boyoung gave a signal. Half of her squad, which had been hiding underground, in tunnels they had dug during the night, emerged behind the Korthak position. The Korthak found themselves trapped between two groups of human soldiers. "This is impossible," the Korthak commander said. "When did they dig those tunnels?" "Last night, sir," his scout reported. "While we were sleeping, they were digging. They worked all night. Do humans not need sleep?" The truth was that humans did need sleep, but they needed victory more. In another part of the city, specialist Wanho Lee was studying a problem. The Korthak had built a shield generator inside a mountain. The shield protected their landing ships from human attacks. Most species would have spent weeks trying to find a way around the mountain or through the shield. Wanho had a simpler idea. He planted explosives at the base of the mountain and created an avalanche that buried the entire Korthak. Installation. The shield generator was crushed under 10,000 tons of rock. "Problem solved," he reported to his commander. "Lee, you just destroyed a mountain," his commander replied. "Yes, sir. The mountain was in our way." This casual attitude toward massive destruction confused the Korthak. They were used to careful, precise warfare. Humans seemed to think that if something was in their way, they should just blow it up. The most confusing human of all was field medic Seo-Young Choi. According to Galactic law, medical personnel were not supposed to fight. They were supposed to help wounded soldiers from both sides. But Seo-Young was not like other species medical personnel. She was treating wounded human soldiers in a medical tent when her scanner detected movement on a hill 2 kilometers away. The scanner was designed to find injured people, but it could also detect healthy people. Seo-Young looked at her scanner data and realized that the figure on the hill was the Korthak field commander. He was directing the battle from what he thought was a safe distance. She picked up her medical rifle, which was supposed to be used only for self-defense. But Seo-Young had a different definition of self-defense than most people. She calculated wind speed, gravity, and atmospheric pressure using her medical scanner. Then she aimed carefully and fired one shot. 2 kilometers away, the Korthak field commander fell dead. "Medic Choi," her assistant said, "was that not against the rules of war?" "He was threatening my patients," Seo-Young replied. "That makes him a medical problem." Word of these human tactics spread quickly through the Korthak forces. Their soldiers began to panic. How could they fight enemies who used medical scanners as sniper scopes? How could they defeat people who destroyed mountains, when those mountains were inconvenient? But the most frightening thing about humans was not their tactics. It was their attitude. When Korthak soldiers were wounded, they called for help and waited for medical treatment. When human soldiers were wounded, they kept fighting. When Korthak soldiers ran out of ammunition, they surrendered. When human soldiers ran out of ammunition, they picked up rocks and sticks and kept fighting. When Korthak soldiers were surrounded, they tried to escape. When human soldiers were surrounded, they seemed to get more dangerous. "These humans are insane," a Korthak officer reported to his commander. "What do you mean?" the commander asked. "They act like they enjoy fighting. They laugh when they are shot at. They make jokes while people are trying to kill them." This was true. Humans did seem to enjoy combat in a way that other species found disturbing. During one battle, human soldiers were heard singing songs while they attacked a Korthak position. The songs were about their home planet Earth and about protecting their friends. The Korthak did not understand why anyone would sing during a battle. But the singing had a purpose. It kept the human soldiers brave and reminded them why they were fighting. After 3 days of fighting, the Korthak forces were in full retreat. They had lost half their ships and most of their ground troops. War Commander Korthal sent a message to his superiors. "The humans are not like any enemy we have faced before. They do not follow the accepted rules of warfare. They sacrifice equipment without hesitation. They treat their medical personnel as snipers. They destroy entire mountains to solve tactical problems." "Are you requesting more troops?" came the reply. "I am requesting permission to withdraw from this system entirely. These Deathworlders are too dangerous to fight with conventional tactics." But Korthal's superiors did not understand. They had never fought humans before. They ordered him to continue the attack. This was their mistake. Admiral Sung-Min Han watched the battle reports and smiled. "The Korthak are starting to break," he told his staff. "Should we offer them terms for surrender?" Ambassador Lim asked. "Not yet. Admiral Sungmin replied. They still think they can win. We need to show them that fighting humans is a very bad idea. What do you suggest? We show them what happens when Deathworlders stop playing defense and start hunting. The battle for Villani Prime was almost over. But the war was just beginning. The Korthak were about to learn that there is a big difference between fighting civilized species and fighting predators from a death world. And Earth's children were very good predators indeed. The human fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Villani system. Admiral Sungmin Han stood on the bridge of his flagship, looking at the screens that showed what was ahead of them. Report, he ordered. 800 Korthak, ships surrounding the Villani homeworld, Captain Isol Park said. They have the planet completely blocked. Our fleet strength? 200 ships, sir. All systems ready for combat. Sungmin looked at the numbers. 800 enemy ships against 200 human ships. Most military commanders would consider this very bad odds, but humans were not most military commanders. Any word from the Villani? He asked. Yes, sir, they are sending a communication now. The main screen showed a face unlike anything humans had ever seen. The being was tall and thin with smooth skin that changed from blue to green to silver. Its eyes were large and kind. When it spoke, lights danced under its skin. Great Deathworlders, from Earth, the being said. I am High Counselor Veltar of the Villani Republic. We thank you for coming to help us. Ambassador Kyung-ho Lim stepped forward. He had trained for years to be Earth's first alien diplomat, but nothing could have prepared him for this moment. High Counselor, he said. We are honored to meet you. I am Ambassador Lim of Earth. We received your message for help. We hoped you would send some ships, Veltar said. The lights under his skin flickered with what looked like surprise. We did not expect so many. Earth takes the protection of innocent people very seriously, Lim replied. The Korthak have demanded that you leave immediately. They say this is not your war. Admiral Sungmin stepped next to the ambassador. High Counselor, Earth has a saying. When someone asks for our help against bullies, it becomes our war. The communication was interrupted by another signal. This one came from the Korthak fleet. The being on the screen was very different from the Villani. It looked like a large lizard standing on two legs. Its skin was dark green with red markings. It wore heavy metal armor and had sharp teeth. I am War Commander Korthol of the Korthak Empire, it said in a harsh voice. You will leave this system immediately or be destroyed. Captain Park stepped forward. She had studied the Korthak data for 2 weeks. War Commander, this is Captain Park of the Earth Defense Force. We are here to protect the Villani people. Korthol made a sound that might have been laughter. Another weak species thinks it can fight us. We have conquered 47 star systems. We will crush you like insects. That might be difficult, Park said calmly. Why? You have only 200 ships, we have 800. Because, Park said, you have never fought Deathworlders before. Deathworlders, Korthol repeated. Yes, we heard this word. The Villani think you are dangerous because you come from a harsh world. But we come from a harsh world too. What is the gravity on your homeworld? Park asked. Half of standard galactic gravity. Why? The gravity on Earth is twice standard galactic gravity. Our children play games that would kill your warriors. For the first time, Korthol looked uncertain. That is impossible. Would you like me to demonstrate? Park asked. She picked up a metal bar that was used for equipment repairs. With one hand, she bent it into a circle. This is normal human strength. We are not even considered particularly strong among our people. The Korthak commander stared at the screen. You are trying to frighten us with tricks. No tricks, Admiral Sungmin said. Captain Park is telling the truth. Every human soldier in this fleet can do what she just did. Our weakest soldiers are stronger than your strongest warriors. But strength is not everything in space warfare, Korthol said. He was trying to sound confident, but his voice was shaking slightly. You are right, Ambassador Lim said. Strength is not everything. Strategy is important. Technology is important. Experience is important. Exactly. And we have been fighting wars for 200 years. We have been fighting wars for 5,000 years, Lim replied quietly. The communication ended. Korthel had cut the connection. High Counselor Veltar reappeared on the screen. The lights under his skin were moving very fast, which the humans had learned meant he was excited or worried. "Great warriors of Earth," he said. "The Korthak numbers are much larger than yours. Are you certain you can defeat them?" "High Counselor," Admiral Sungmin said, "in our experience, numbers are not as important as most people think." "What is important then?" "Training, equipment, and most important of all, motivation. What motivates human warriors?" "We do not like bullies," Captain Park said simply. The Volani leader seemed confused by this answer. "You came all this way and risked your lives because you do not like bullies?" "Yes. That is very strange to us. The Volani do not understand violence at all. We have never had wars. We have never built weapons. We do not know how to fight. That is why we are here," Admiral Sungmin said. Another signal came from the Korthak fleet. This time it was not a communication request. It was a threat display. The Korthak ships formed into attack formations. Their weapons began to charge. "They are getting ready to attack," Captain Park reported. "All ships, prepare for battle," Admiral Sungmin ordered. "Remember, we are not just fighting for the Volani. We are showing the galaxy what happens when someone threatens our friends." The human fleet began to move. Unlike most space navies, human ships did not form neat lines or careful formations. They spread out like a pack of hunting animals, each ship moving independently but working together. "This is strange," High Counselor Veltar said. "Your ships move like they are alive." "Human military tactics are different from what most species use," Ambassador Lim explained. "We learned to fight on a world where predators hunt in packs." Predators. Dangerous animals that kill other animals for food. Earth has many predators. Humans learned to think like predators. The Korthak fleet was now moving toward the human ships. They moved in precise formations with their biggest ships in front and smaller ships behind them. "Classic military formation," Captain Park observed. "Textbook battle tactics." "And very predictable," Admiral Sungmin added. "All ships execute Hunter Pattern 7, he ordered. The human fleet suddenly changed direction. Instead of meeting the Korthak head-on, they scattered in different directions. Some ships moved above the Korthak fleet, others moved below. Still others moved to the sides. "What are they doing?" Veltar asked. "It looks like they are running away." "No," Ambassador Lim said. "They are surrounding their prey." The battle was about to begin. For the first time in galactic history, Deathworlders were going to fight in space. The Korthak were about to learn why species from dangerous worlds were so feared. War Commander Korthel watched the human ships move and felt something he had never experienced before. Fear. His species had conquered dozens of worlds by using superior numbers and standard tactics. But the humans were not using standard tactics. They were moving like wild animals, and he was beginning to understand that his 800 ships might not be enough. The humans had brought something to this battle that the Korthak had never faced before. The instincts of apex predators who had spent millions of years learning how to kill things that tried to kill them. The galaxy was about to see what Deathworlders could do when they were angry, and the humans were very angry indeed. Admiral Sungmin Han stood in the war room looking at the biggest screen he had ever seen. The screen showed star maps, ship positions, and military reports from all over Earth. Red lights blinked everywhere like angry eyes. "How long since we got the message, Q?" he asked. 18 hours, sir," replied his aide. "The president has already approved military action." Sungmin nodded. In 18 hours, everything had changed. Humanity was no longer alone in the universe, and apparently, humanity was needed for war. General Yuna Shin walked into the room. She was smaller than most generals, but everyone was afraid of her. She had fought in 3 Earth wars and never lost a battle. "Admiral, the fleets are ready," she said. "We can launch in 6 hours." "How many ships?" Sungmin asked. 200 warships. 12 of them are our biggest dreadnoughts. We also have support ships, medical ships, and supply ships. Sungmin was amazed. In less than a day, Earth had prepared the largest war fleet in human history. How many soldiers? 50,000 combat troops, plus pilots, engineers, and medical staff. About 80,000 people total. Dr. Yoonji Kang entered the room carrying a tablet computer. She was young but very smart. She knew more about alien warfare than anyone else on Earth. I have been studying the alien data, she said. The Korthak are interesting enemies. Tell me, Sungmin said. They come from a world with low gravity. Their bones are hollow like bird bones. They are tall but not very strong. That sounds good for us, Yuna said. Yes, but they have good technology. Their ships have strong shields and powerful weapons. They have been fighting wars for a long time. How long? Sungmin asked. About 200 years. They have conquered 47 star systems. The room became quiet. 47 star systems was a lot. That meant billions of people under Korthak control. What about the Villani? Sungmin asked. The Villani are the opposite of the Korthak, Yoonji said. They are peaceful traders. They have never built weapons of war. Their world has no dangerous animals and perfect weather. So they do not know how to fight. No, they do not even understand why anyone would want to fight. Colonel Dao Jung came into the room. He was the leader of the Special Forces unit called the Reapers. His soldiers were the best fighters on Earth. My teams are ready, Admiral, he said. We have been studying the alien ship designs. We can get inside them. Good, Sungmin said. What do you think of this war? Dowan smiled, but it was not a kind smile. I think the Korthak have made a big mistake. They have never fought humans before. What makes us different? Yoonji asked. She was curious about everything. We come from a death world, Yuna said. Earth is dangerous. We grew up fighting dangerous animals, bad weather, diseases, and each other. Most species in the galaxy evolved on safe worlds, Dowan added. They never had to learn to fight for survival. Sungmin looked at the reports on his screen. Every military base on Earth was working day and night. Soldiers were loading weapons and supplies onto ships. Pilots were checking their fighters. Engineers were making final repairs to the big warships. The Korthak expect maybe a small help from us, he said. Maybe one ship with a few hundred soldiers. Instead, they will face the full power of Earth's military, Yuna said. Sir, his aide said. We are getting more messages from the research station. The Villani are very excited. They are telling all their people that the Deathworlders are coming to help. Deathworlders, Sungmin repeated. Is that what they call us? Yes, sir. In the galaxy, there are different types of worlds. Garden worlds are safe and beautiful. Industrial worlds are for making things. Research worlds are for scientists. And death worlds are dangerous places where only strong species can survive. Earth is a death world. Yes, sir. And humans are Deathworlders. Sungmin walked to the window and looked outside. He could see the Pacific Ocean stretching to the horizon. Above the water, he could see the launch trails of rockets carrying supplies to the fleet. How many Deathworlders are there in the galaxy? He asked Yoonji. Not many, sir. Maybe 5 or 6 species. Most intelligent life grows up on safe worlds. And what are the other Deathworlders like? We do not know. This is our first contact with galactic civilization. The communication system made a sound. A new message was coming from the research station. Sungmin listened carefully. The Korthak have attacked another Villani world, the message said. 3 billion Villani are dead. The survivors are asking if the human fleet is really coming. Send them an answer, Sungmin ordered. Tell them we are coming. Tell them to hold on. But privately he wondered if they would arrive in time. The journey to Villani space would take 2 weeks even with their fastest ships. How many more Villani would die while they traveled? Admiral, Yuna said. I have a question about our mission. Yes? Are we just helping the Villani? Or are we sending a message to the galaxy? Sungmin thought about this. It was a good question. If humanity helped the Villani, Other species would hear about it. They would learn that humans were strong fighters. Some species might want to be friends with humanity, but others might decide that humans were dangerous enemies. Both, he said finally. We are helping people who asked for our help, but we are also showing the galaxy what happens when someone attacks our friends. And if the galaxy does not like us for this, then the galaxy will learn to respect us, Colonel Jung laughed. I think the Korthak are about to get a big surprise. What kind of surprise? Yunji asked. They think they are fighting a species like the Villani. Weak and peaceful. But humans are not weak. And we are not always peaceful. Humans are dangerous. When we need to be, Yuna added. The final preparations took 4 more hours. The fleet was larger than anything Earth had ever assembled. It included the newest warships with the strongest weapons. It included soldiers trained in every type of fighting. It included medical teams prepared for alien injuries and engineers ready to repair alien technology. Most importantly, it included humans who had grown up on a world where everything tried to kill them. Fleet is ready for launch, came the report. Begin. Departure sequence, Sungmin ordered. One by one, the ships left Earth orbit. The big dreadnoughts went first, their engines lighting up space like new stars. Then came the cruisers and destroyers. Finally, the support ships followed. From Earth's surface, people watched the fleet disappear into the darkness. Many of them did not know where the ships were going or why. They only knew that humanity's children were heading into the unknown. 2 weeks to Villani space, the navigator reported. Good, Sungmin said. Send a message to all ship commanders. Tell them to prepare for humanity's first interstellar war. As the fleet traveled through space, messages continued to arrive from the research station. The news was not good. The Korthak were winning. More Villani worlds were falling. But then something interesting happened. Word about the human fleet began to spread through the galaxy. Other alien species heard that Deathworlders were coming to fight the Korthak. Some species were curious, some were worried, and some were excited. The Korthak heard the news too. First they laughed. What could one species do against their mighty empire? They would soon find out. In 2 weeks, they would learn why humans were called Deathworlders. They would learn that species from dangerous worlds were different from species that grew up in safety. They would learn that threatening human friends was a very bad idea. The journey to Villani space had begun. The age of human isolation was ending forever. 6 months after the Battle of Korthak Prime, President Chaewon Song stood before the United Nations Assembly on Earth. The room was filled with representatives from every nation on the planet. But today, they were not just discussing Earth matters. Today, they were discussing humanity's place in the galaxy. The war is over, she announced. The Korthak Empire has surrendered unconditionally. 47 star systems have been liberated. 3 billion slaves have been freed. The assembly erupted in cheers, but President Song raised her hand for silence. But our victory has created new challenges, she continued. The galaxy now sees humanity differently. We are no longer an unknown species from a distant world. We are a major galactic power. Ambassador Sun Ho-yoon walked to the podium. He had spent the last month meeting with representatives from dozens of alien species. His reports painted a complex picture of humanity's new situation. Some species want to be our allies, he said. The Villani have offered us permanent access to their graviton technology. 15 other species have requested defense treaties with Earth. And the others? President Song asked. 23 species have formed what they call the Containment Alliance. They believe humans are too dangerous to be allowed unrestricted expansion into the galaxy. This news caused worried murmurs throughout the assembly. Humanity had won one war, but they might have created the conditions for future conflicts. What do they want? Asked the representative from Brazil. They want limits on human military expansion. They want monitoring of human colonies. And they want guarantees that we will not interfere in conflicts between other species. Even if those conflicts involve innocent people being hurt, especially then, they fear that humans will use the protection of innocence as an excuse to build a galactic empire. Captain Jamin Kim had been listening to the discussion from the back of the room. He was the commander of humanity's first exploration fleet, which was preparing to establish colonies on worlds outside the solar system. "May I speak?" he asked. President Song nodded. "I have talked to many of the alien refugees we freed from Korthak slavery," Jamin said. "They do not see us as conquerors, they see us as liberators." "What is the difference?" asked the representative. "From Germany. Conquerors take territory for themselves. Liberators free people and then leave." "And what did we do?" "We freed 47 star systems and then handed control back to the original inhabitants. We did not claim a single world for Earth." This was true. Despite having the military power to create a vast human empire, humanity had chosen to restore independence to every world they had liberated. "But some species still fear us," Ambassador Yoon said. "They look at our military capabilities and wonder what we might do in the future." High Counselor Veltar appeared on the main screen via faster-than-light communication from Volani Prime. The Volani leader had become humanity's closest alien friend. "People of Earth," he said, his skin glowing with colors that indicated deep respect. "I want to speak for those species who have benefited from human protection." "Please proceed, High Counselor," President Song said. "Before the humans came, the galaxy was ruled by the strong. Species like the Korthak took whatever they wanted from weaker peoples. There was no justice, only power. And now there is hope. For the first time, weak species know that someone will protect them from bullies. The humans have given us something we never had before, the belief that good people can win against bad people." But not everyone in the galaxy shared this optimistic view. On the screen appeared another alien face. This being was from the Zephyrian Collective, one of the leaders of the Containment Alliance. "The humans are dangerous," it said in a cold voice. "They destroyed an entire empire in 6 months. What happens when they decide that another species is a threat?" "We only fight in defense of innocent people," President Song replied. "That is what you say now. But power changes people. The humans have the strongest military in the galaxy. How long before they use it for their own benefit?" This question hung in the air like a dark cloud. It was the fear that drove the Containment Alliance, that humanity would eventually become the same kind of threat that the Korthak had been. "We have a proposal," Ambassador Yoon said. "Earth is willing to join the Galactic Council as a permanent member. We will submit to the same laws and oversight that govern all galactic civilizations." "With conditions," the Zephyrian representative said suspiciously. "Yes. We want the Council to create a new organization, the Galactic Protection Service. Its job will be to defend peaceful species from aggressive empires." "And who would control this protection service?" "No one species. It would be controlled by the Council as a whole. But Earth would provide most of the military forces, since we seem to be good at that." The idea was revolutionary. Never before had the galaxy tried to create an organization specifically designed to protect weak species from strong ones. Captain Jamin Kim spoke again. "The Containment Alliance is right about one thing. Humans are dangerous. We come from a death world where everything tries to kill everything else. We are good at fighting, and we do not give up easily." "And this is supposed to make us feel better?" the Zephyrian asked. "Yes. Because we are dangerous to the right people. We are dangerous to bullies and tyrants and anyone who hurts innocent people. But we are not dangerous to peaceful species who mind their own business. How can we trust this?" "Because," President Song said, "we already proved it. We had the power to conquer the entire Korthak Empire and make it part of Earth's territory. Instead, we freed every world and gave it back to its original people." The debates continued for weeks. Some species wanted humanity as an ally. Others wanted humanity contained or controlled. Still others wanted nothing to do with humans at all, and moved their civilizations to distant parts of the galaxy. But gradually, a new order began to emerge. The Galactic Council voted to accept Earth as a member. The Galactic Protection Service was established, with human military forces as its primary component. and a new law was passed. Any species that attacked peaceful neighbors would face intervention by the Protection Service. For the first time in galactic history, being strong did not automatically give you the right to hurt weaker species. Captain Jamin Kim launched humanity's first colony expedition 6 months later. The colonies would be established on uninhabited worlds, with strict rules about respecting any native life they might encounter. Remember, he told his colonists, we are not conquering these worlds. We are becoming part of them. We are guests in the galaxy, and guests should behave properly. But even as humanity tried to be responsible, with their new power problems remained. The Containment Alliance continued to grow, adding new members who feared human expansion. Small conflicts broke out between human colonies and alien settlements. And somewhere in the distant reaches of the galaxy, new threats were beginning to emerge. President Song addressed the world one final time before leaving office. We answered one call for help and changed the galaxy forever, she said. Now we must live with the consequences of our choices. Are we conquerors? Are we protectors? Are we something new? The answer will be determined not by what we say, but by what we do. Every action we take from now on will be watched by thousands of species across the galaxy. We must be worthy of the trust that good people have placed in us. As she spoke, a new signal was detected by human monitoring stations. It was coming from the opposite edge of the galaxy, far beyond any known civilization. The signal was not asking for help. It was a warning. Beware the humans from the death world, it said. They call themselves protectors, but they are the most dangerous predators the galaxy has ever seen. They turned warfare into an art and death into a tool. They are beautiful and terrible, and they fear nothing. They say they fight for justice, but I have seen their ships and their weapons. The galaxy will never be safe again. The message ended with coordinates, the location of the sender's civilization far across the galaxy. Admiral Bay, now retired, read the intercepted message and smiled grimly. It seems our reputation has spread, he told his successor. Is that good or bad? That depends. Are we the people we claim to be? Or are we the monsters they fear we might become? The answer to that question would determine the future of not just humanity, but the entire galaxy. Far across space, unknown civilizations were preparing for the day when the Deathworlders from Earth might come to their regions of space. Some were preparing to welcome them as liberators. Others were preparing to fight them as conquerors, and a few were simply preparing to run. The age of human isolation was over. The age of humanity as a galactic power had begun. What that power would be used for remained to be seen.